MetaZoo is dead, and nobody cares. And if you're wondering why I'm going to be discussing this topic today, because there is a lot to take away from the failure of this company, its failure to innovate, and how this can relate to other TCG games, including Magic the Gathering. I really wanted to start this video off with some kind of saying like, you can learn from your past failures, there's ways of growing in the future, and then I decided to just stop it. We're going to talk about what just happened and how it relates to other TCG games. Welcome back, guys. MTG Moxman here. Thanks a lot for hanging out with me on the channel today. A reminder, if you guys enjoy the content today and you want to see more of the Moxman, just hit the subscribe button, turn on your notification bells. I do put up a new video every single day, sometimes an extra video. It depends on timing. So what just happened? MetaZoo failed. And it'd be very easy for me to have put together a simple rant video about how this company was doomed to fail from the start. But that's too easy because there's a lot you can learn. There's a lot you can take away from failure. About a month ago, I put together a video saying, TCG, the death is coming for you. If you put in MTG Moxman and TCG, like a space, you'll find the video. It got like 5,000 or 6,000 views. But it was about past failures in the 90s of a whole bunch of other TCG games that didn't make it. It's not that the games weren't good. It's not that they weren't fun to play. And even though MetaZoo is gone, the game will still exist. And people who enjoy playing the game can still play it. And about a year from now, there'll be big bulk lots that are available for people to buy. I mean, right now, if you go shopping, you'll find TCG stores, local LGSs. Guys, they are cleaning this stuff out. They're fire selling it to get it off the shelves as the panic of the last door closing is about to hit on this game, okay? That's the way a store is going to look at it, because there's no way now to move the product. But there are takeaways. When a company fails to innovate, it leaves room for another company, an up-and-comer who is more aggressive, to overtake you. No matter how big and powerful your company is, it can still fail. No matter how much backing you have, which Hasbro is backing up Wizards of the Coast, no matter how much backing you have, they can fail. Any game can fail. Anything can fail when innovation of something newer, better, faster, quicker, whatever, comes up from the backside and overtakes you. It reminds me of things like BlackBerry, past things like IBM. There's so many companies, like even Sears here in Canada, Consumers Distributing. There's all these companies that got overtaken by better, I guess the easier way to say it is like a better product model. A new way to innovate and do something better than was done before, okay? And some of these companies get so kind of caught on themselves that they just try to protect what they have. They don't look to the future anymore. They look inward, and that eventually erodes the company. Now, MetaZoo was not a really old game. We know this, okay? And in the same time span, there's been a whole bunch of other TCG games that have been created. And I still think more of these games are going to fail in the sense we're not going to see new products. The companies themselves will fold. But the IP of MetaZoo, the IP of any game that fails, usually gets bought up by another company in case there's a chance for resurrection down the road or a new way of innovating. An already built-in, no matter how small, a built-in audience that remembers it fondly. Think of Pogs, right? Think of those little bones thing. I remember those as when I was in my 20s, kids had those like bone things they would throw around. Anyway, there's lots of things that come back around. Think strawberry shortcake. Think the Care Bears. These things come back around. Even though they're not innovating the product, the IP is still remembered, okay, by some people. So what does this mean? Well, lots of TCG games die. They end up on eBay, and they still have value. There's still people willing to buy these things. Now, for a long while, nobody's going to care because, honestly, MetaZoo wasn't around that long. I have heard about all the people saying it was mismanaged and stuff, but you know what? Somebody probably got rich. It feels almost like a pyramid scheme. Somebody comes up with the idea, sells it to other people who branch out and sell it to other people who branch out and sell it to other people, like a pyramid, right? And as it goes down, and it's whoever's last at the table holding the check is the one who gets burned. A lot of people got burned, but I think a lot of people probably got rich. You guys will probably leave some comments in the comment section going over all this, and I'm sure a lot of other channels already covered the death of this game. I know I saw Alpha Investments video. I saw the other stuff going around, and I look at it and say, I get it, but what can Wizards of the Coast learn from this? Well, we know there's a small audience that enjoyed that game. Small as it may have been, there were some people, not just the investors and speculators, but there were people, I was told, who were playing the game. Although I never saw it played myself, I heard other people played it. So where is that audience going to go? Less and less people play a game. I remember when Overpower died at my store. I remember back when Spellfire died. When these games, Illuminati, when they died, the audience eventually migrated to another game because they want the camaraderie. They want to be able to play with people. So really, one product fails and it just gets absorbed by another product that is still existing. I don't care what it is. It generally, that's the way it goes. You can argue all you want. That's the way I see it, in my humble opinion. That's how I see this stuff playing across the board. And in this case, everyone went to Magic. So as these TCGs fail, either from lack of innovation, too small of a group of players playing it, profit margins, mismanagement, those players inevitably go back to a game they probably already played. And that's why Magic the Gathering is still around. That's why games like Pokemon, which I don't see massive amounts of people playing Pokemon locally. I see tournaments still, and people do come out, kids and adults, but I know a lot of people that collect Pokemon. I know a lot of kids who love, I know nieces and nephews and all kinds of kids who like to buy the packs and open it. Doesn't matter why they're being bought. The company's successful, doing well. They have IP everywhere from movies, video games, and the TCG card. It's crazy to think that games like this still exist. But there's only a few big ones that are still out there. Everything else is small potatoes, trying to get a seat at the big boys table and trying to hold on long enough to either one, get bought out by a big boy company, or cash out, which means they've gone as far as they think they can go. They'll do some big run to make some profit, and again, we're back to the pyramid scheme and somebody's left holding the check. Because somebody tells you it's collectible and investable and worth money means nothing. The reason people thought that is they've seen it before. So now, back to Magic the Gathering. What's the takeaway? Well, Magic the Gathering will look at this. I'm sure somewhere they're going to have a group study what failed in this company. They're going to take a look at it. Even if it's only in a passing way, they'll assign a couple of busybody people out there to take a look at why it failed. They'll look at distribution. They'll look at how many boxes they had. They'll find out as much info as they can, just so they can understand and try to adapt or innovate, because a company like Wizards, who is at the big boy table, if not the biggest, it is going to try to either make sure those mistakes don't happen, learn from them, what they did well at the beginning, and try to take some takeaways. Because who isn't trying to improve themselves? Again, remember, if you fail to innovate, you're done. And that's why most of the new TCG games eventually fail. They're building off the success of previously existing games with slight innovations, but nothing dramatic enough to build in a larger audience. You need a game that's going to catch fire. And you can say that Magic the Gathering was that once-in-a-lifetime lightning bolt that has the largest player base. You can say that. Doesn't mean everyone's going to believe you, but you can say it and you have some confidence that that's how it's going to come across to other players. And players buy and invest in Magic all the time. And just because people buy and invest in Magic, and there's MTG Finance, I cover a lot of it myself, doesn't mean the other games are. They're great, they're playable, they're enjoyable. Go to a game because you love it, not because it's investable and collectible. That's the takeaway that a lot of people are getting from this. Even though they say it was doomed to fail at the beginning, like any game that fails to get an audience, it doesn't mean the game is forever gone. It exists. It has cards. It has a board game. It has rules. And you can still play it. Combat Hex from Lord of the Rings was an amazing system. We bought it all. It didn't go very far. Snaggletooth Games folded up and stuff, right? The game doesn't exist anymore. But we still own the pieces. Me and my friends still love playing the game. And that's the good news about any game, any TCG that fails. Now, again, back to the whole thing, is any game too big to fail? Magic right now is probably laughing. Somebody like Fab, Flesh and Blood, is happy. Less competition is better for them. Lorcana, Sorcery, a lot of other games still out there. Are they going to have the staying power, the proper management, the distribution, the way of building their audience? No guarantees. But there's a reason why like 70 to 80% of all this stuff, all these businesses always fail. They always fail. Something always will go wrong. The market turns a certain way. You saw that guy's comments probably up on the board. You know, oh, the market conditions changed and things went wrong. Say whatever you want to say. You failed. It happens. So I hope people learn from this. I hope there is a takeaway for players, investors, collectors, other companies, that innovation is one thing. Like when you look at how Wizards of the Coast gives us some weird Clue type version game, which I'm not fond of. I like the cards. I hate the concept of this whole Clue thing. But they give us Karlov Manor. That is still an innovation, and they are trying to adapt and ever change things to keep new paths open so nothing ever seems stale or old. We may complain about it. We may not like it. We may even hate it in some cases. But then they steer back to a fantasy set or kind of go back around the bend to something more palatable to a larger group of players, and things kind of calm down. It's never stale though. There's always something to talk about. There's always some buzz about what Wizards did right and what Wizards did wrong, or channels of YouTube content creators wouldn't exist in some cases. Even the rules and concepts of the game pieces are always changing. They add new innovations. They take stuff away. We got the Morph. We got Manifest. We got all these crazy things going on. Now we got things with War 2. There's power creep. At least there's a conversation. And when something goes stale and you don't hear people talking about it, that's when it's kind of like the death drum beating somewhere in the background ever so slightly, really quietly, like a whisper. And it gets louder and louder until the company either fails or it innovates and takes some weird sharp turn. Every company wants to be. Doesn't mean they're going to be. And I hope that not too many people of this channel got burned too badly. I hope everyone learns a lesson and has a takeaway, right? You hope it goes to the best it can for people out there. I don't wish anyone ill will who worked at the company, the artists, the distributors, the stores. I don't want any bad things to happen to anybody. That's not what I want to do. But it happened already. It's in the past already. Now it's damage mitigation, learning the lessons we can learn, and hopefully not repeat them. And some players learned a harder lesson than others. It's the way it is. Guys, thanks again for tuning in today. I'd like to know your comments. Before we end off here, I would like to know what you guys feel and think about this. I know the subreddit boards are filled, but I want the people on my channel to have their say so I can see how everyone's feeling about this stuff. Do you feel good about the other TCGs still? You're worried about them now? You got a little bit of a door slamming kind of thing, or you feel like everything's fine? Are you sticking to Magic the Gathering? Are you sticking to only reserve list? These are conversations people are having every day right now because of an event like MetaZoo, where people haven't gone through this before. We went through it a lot in the 90s. Changing economic times. We're in that now. Remember, I did that video telling you guys, the TCG video. You know, it's coming for your TCG game. The death is coming for another game. There's more of these games that aren't going to make it. Don't be the last one at the table. What, we're still on? Oh, I'm just standing here like an idiot. Guys, have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow. A big shout out and thank you to the fantastic patrons who support the content creation of this channel each and every day. Because of those amazing YouTube membership members and of course my patrons, daily uploaded content is made possible, so thanks again to every one of you. Welcome back, guys. Ramble Jamble time. We gotta talk about what I saw at 401 Games. Burning out MetaZoo, man. Getting off the shelves, closing up shop as it were. A lot of people who carried this product are trying to get it off the shelves as quick as possible, hoping people didn't see the news and are just making it the best possible clearance deal. It's insane to think, but no one should really be surprised. No one. No one should be shocked. I never really saw it played at an LGS. I saw it on store shelves, but I never saw it bought and played in the store. I didn't see organized play. I didn't see the things that you want to see when you're innovating. Like if Wizards wants to take it to the next level, I still say they've got to guarantee prize pools. They need to get out there and hire actual judges that work for the company. Pay them like $10,000 a year. Make them work. You know, you get paid this much money if you work so many tournaments at such and such WPN stores. Make it legitimate. Make it sanctioned. Make it professional. Get your audience. Go out and get it. Wizards needs to innovate this way. They innovate in the card game, but they got to innovate the brand. This is one of the areas I've said they've really kind of been lacking in. Personal opinion, they still need to expand the reserve list. Create that collectability, desirability going forward. Either by artwork or by design of cards. You know, some people say, oh, if it gets banned in so many formats, it goes on the reserve list. I'm just saying there's possibilities for this company to continue to innovate. I just don't think they're taking the next steps necessary. And when you look at failure companies like MetaZoo or things that don't work out, you realize a lot of these companies can't change quick enough. They're so busy trying to get cash in and hold it so they can pay themselves the big money for creating some card game, they don't realize you have to spend a lot to grow your game to the level that it is self-sustaining and you have an audience built in generationally. This is where a lot of these companies still fail. All these TCG games haven't got that. If you don't get kids into the store and get the game going into the future generations, eventually your audience is going to age out. So you better work on it. Anyway, thanks for hanging out. Thanks for being here today. Don't forget, Necronomicon. It's page 802, by the way. And this is for TCG games that fail and how to absorb the soul of the people who are to blame. See you guys later.